The war is in its active phase. The Russians are pressing from all sides. Some were achieving tactical successes due to a shortage of equipment, ammunition and personnel in the armed forces of Ukraine. But the situation is starting to level out. Aid is coming to Ukraine. The image shows the assistance allocated in April. This includes only equipment. As seen, Ukraine has received up to 24 units of ground equipment, 62 units of naval equipment, 1 air defense system, plus 1 radar, and it's all excluding trucks and pickups, drones, ammunition, etc. Hey, my name is Alex, and this is a quick update on the Russian-Ukrainian war from the perspective of someone living within it. In the skies of Ukraine, F-16s should soon appear, which will also add a significant advantage to the capabilities of the Ukrainian armed forces. Much depends on the modifications these jets will have. It seems to me that our allies understand that older modification will be ineffective. To ensure that NATO equipment remains attractive worldwide and to maintain its effectiveness, Ukrainian allies will need to provide F-16s with the latest modern updates. Footage from training exercises of Ukrainian Air Force pilots on F-16s aircraft in Denmark. And Russia is not standing still. Its military complex factories are operating 24/7. Additionally, it is worth noting that Russia has adopted and developed various electronic warfare means to counter GPS-guided projectiles and missiles. For instance, the effectiveness of M9A2 Excalibur projectile decreased from 70% to 6% within the last 6 weeks. This means that out of 100 fired, only 6 hit the target. Parallelly, Russia is fortifying the coast of the occupied Crimea. Fresh images dated April 30 of the western coast of Crimea, particularly Cape Takanka, show new position dug by the Russians. And now let's move on to reviewing the situation on the front line. On the Svatove section of the front line, active combat continues in Klishchiivka and on the northern outskirts of Kotlarivka. Near Kislivka, Russian reserves are being deployed, but the enemy's successes clearly do not match the stated expectations. The situation remains unchanged. Deeper into the rear of the occupied territories of this section, on the front near the settlement of Kuban, an attack by cassette ATACMS M39 missiles on a polygon with a large number of enemy infantry was recorded. There is additional video footage showing the aftermath, which I won't be able to share here due to censorship, depicting a significant number of Russian soldiers destroyed by this attack. Liman direction. Defense forces have restored positions east of Yampolivka. Units from the 23rd Separate Special Forces Brigade and the 63rd Separate Marine Brigade have conducted strike on the enemy positions, followed by assaults, advancing up to 730 meters wide and up to 880 meters deep. The footage demonstrates that despite the enemy's significant advantage in manpower and equipment, Ukrainian soldiers are attempting to impose their initiative. Siversky direction. Combat actions are ongoing at a moderate pace. The Russian army occasionally attempts attacks here as well, but without success. Video footage shows the aftermath of intense battles on the outskirts of the settlement of Bilohoryu, and this one from the Serebryan forest in this direction. The video is from the 12th Special Brigade Aziv. Chasiv Yar sector. The enemy continues to attack in the areas of Chasiv Yar, Ivanivsky and Klishchiivka without success. Occupiers continue to bomb and set fire to the city and its outskirts, causing deliberate destruction of yet another settlement in Donbas. In the area between Klishchiivka and Ivanivsky, Ukrainian artillery stops a column of Russian armored vehicles during another attempted mechanized assault in this direction. The video is from the 7th Separate Tank Brigade. Mines are also helping to hold the Russians' onslaught. Footage from the same direction shows Russian armored vehicles discovering presence in the form of mines, remotely deployed by drones from the Code 9.2 detachment of the 92nd Separate High Mobile Brigade during an assault attempt, and completing the composition are drones. Operators of strike drones from Achilles Battalion of the 92nd Separate High Mobile Brigade share episodes of destroying Russian equipment and personnel during another enemy assault attempt. The direction remains the same, the Chasivya. As a result, 3 BMP-3S, 1 BTR-80 and 2 T-72 tanks were destroyed, along with approximately 8 personnel wounded or killed. And of course, none of this would matter without the Ukrainian infantry. After all, territorial control is primarily consolidated by infantry. Footage from the same sector depicts Ukrainian freedom fighters in action. Though no less challenging than the Avdiivka direction, it is being successfully contained. In the Avdiivka direction, Russian forces have captured the village of Novokalinovo and the settlement of Keramik. The enemy advance in this area extends up to 5.2 kilometers wide and 1.4 kilometers deep. East of village of Novo-Oleksandrivka, the enemy has advanced along the forest strip in a northern direction, covering an area up to 900 meters wide and 630 meters deep. West of Solovyovo, the enemy continues attack towards the settlement of Soukil. Footage shows M2 Bradley from the 47th Brigade resolving a Russian MTLB garage, which approached the southern outskirts of Solovyovo. Additionally, a squadron of strike drones from the Achilles Battalion of the 92nd Brigade are seen destroying Russian BMP-3 in the Henhouse modification, BMP-2 and T-72 tank in vicinity of this area. Attacks towards Novopokrovsk have been repelled. Further south on the map, in the same direction, clashes continue south of Peromaisk. Russian forces are attempting to deploy as many soldiers as possible here. They are emerging like cockroaches from every crevice. Footage from the 47th Separate Artillery Brigade shows artillery targeting Russian positions near the village of Ovcheretiny. Hunting for infantry does not cease even at night. Night hunting for Russian near the village of Berdyichi. Video footage is from the Bozhia Sprava unit of the 47th Separate Mountain Assault Brigade, Magyura. And no matter what the Russians or people like Elon Musk or Pope Francis might assure us that Russians cannot be stopped, it does not correspond to reality. Despite certain tactical successes in this area of the front, it comes at a very high cost to them. In a video, which I cannot share due to censorship on YouTube, a Russian soldier walks along a forest strip near the village of Stepove, and at every meter that Russian soldiers lie. It is estimated that 82 Russian soldiers were killed within the 440 meters he walked and filmed. So the cost for every mile here on this strip of Ukrainian forest is approximately 330 Russian soldiers. Huge losses are evident from the endless posts on social media where Russians search for their relatives. I include examples in almost every one of my videos. As an additional piece of evidence, here is the honor board in Beryuch, Belgorod region, Russia. As of 2021, the population was about 7,000 people. Losses from the war in Afghanistan, which lasted for 11 years, plus the Chechen wars for 2 years, results in 9 casualties in this city. In 20 months of war in Ukraine, here were 18 casualties. And these are only official data, which are significantly understated in any case. Also, foreign mercenaries lured into the Russian army with large sums of money quickly flee after the very first engagement in the meat-grinder assaults. For instance, Ukrainian intelligence recorded a mass escape of Nepalese mercenaries from the 29th 328 Russian Federation military unit in the occupied Luhansk region. Kurachev direction. In Krasnohorivka, the high pace of combat continues in the southern part of the city and on the southern outskirts. The situation remains unchanged. Another mechanized attack by 4 tank turtles on Krasnohorivka. Regarding the effectiveness of these tank garages, once again the vehicle reached the factory, rushed infantry and went back. However, only 2 vehicles managed to leave the city. One of these 2 later came under heavy artillery fire and sustained significant damage, although it was not destroyed. So, practically speaking, there is one more or less intact vehicle that managed to complete the combat task. The Russians also tried to attack at night here. As a result of the attack, a T-90 tank and a BMD of Russian army were destroyed. The work of the fighters of the 33rd Separate Motorized Rifle Brigade of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, Vuhledar direction. There were attempts by the enemy to improve the tactical positions near Paraskoivka, but they were unsuccessful, as demonstrated by the 79th Airborne Assault Brigade. Similarly, an attack from Solotke towards Vodiane was repelled by the fighters of the 72nd Separate Mechanized Brigade. Veliko-Novoselivka direction. South and east of Urozhaine, the enemy advanced up to 3.5 kilometers wide and 700 meters deep. Fresh video footages from this direction. This video shows massive strikes by Russians with guided and cluster aviation bombs RBK-500. And in this video, scenes of repelling enemy mechanized attacks. On our side, defense is held by the 58th Brigade, 21st National Guard Brigade, 128th Dnipro Territorial Defense Brigade, and the 3rd Mechanized Battalion of the Presidential Brigade. Robotine sector. In Robotine, the enemy continues attacks in the northern direction along Silska and Mira Street. The village increasingly turns into one large gray zone. The Russians showed a video where they placed their flag in the northern part of Robotino. They successfully captured Robotino in such a way that only a part of their soldiers managed to escape. In short, they rush into the village, quickly hand the flag, shoot a video, and those who remain alive escape. This is usually the sequence of events here. No change were recorded in the rest of the directions. Ukraine holds on, despite the enemy's significant pressure and victorious reports from the Kremlin. There are all chances to equalize the situation and even turn everything in favor. And that wraps up today's video. If you found this information helpful or somehow insightful, don't forget to like, share and subscribe. And I hope to see you in the next video. Bye bye!